Welcome to our deep dive into Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. We're really excited to be cracking open T. Harv Eker's book today.
Yeah, it's a classic.
It is a classic.
Yeah.
And, we talk a lot about money and finance here, so I'm really curious to see what kind of actionable advice we can pull out of this one. And are you ready to kind of unlock those secrets to the millionaire mind?
I think one of the most interesting things about this book is that it goes beyond just the practical stuff.
Right.
Budgeting and investing.
Yeah.
It really dives deep into the mindset piece.
Yeah.
And, Eker argues that your financial success is really rooted in your beliefs about money.
He calls it your financial blueprint, right?
Exactly. It's like a subconscious set of beliefs that we all have about money. And these beliefs, they can really hold us back.
Okay.
And he even compares it to a financial thermostat.
Oh, interesting.
That's set at a certain temperature.
Okay, so how does this financial thermostat thing actually play out in someone's life?
Well, think about it. Have you ever noticed that even when people get a raise or maybe they win the lottery,
Right.
they often end up right back where they started financially?
Yeah, it's almost like they're programmed to stay within a certain income range.
Exactly.
No matter what.
That's Eker's point. He's saying that until you actually change your underlying beliefs about money, you're probably going to sabotage yourself. Even if you know all the right strategies and you're doing all the right things on paper.
It's like your internal programming is just overriding all of that.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It's pulling you back to that financial set point.
He tells that story in the book about lottery winners, right, who end up broke, even after winning millions. It's crazy.
Yeah. But then on the flip side, you see self-made millionaires.
Right.
Who might lose their fortunes, but they bounce back so quickly.
Right.
Because they have that wealth mindset.
Right.
They still believe in their ability to create wealth.
So it sounds like this financial blueprint really is like a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It shapes your reality in a way.
I think that's a great way to put it.
So then the big question is, where do these blueprints even come from?
Yeah, like how do we end up with these beliefs about money in the first place?
Right.
So Eker outlines 3 main influences.
Okay.
The first one is verbal programming. It's all those messages that we hear about money when we're growing up.
Okay.
Usually from parents,
Right.
other authority figures. Money doesn't grow on trees.
Oh, I heard that one a lot growing up.
Oh, yeah, me too. We can't afford that.
Yep.
All those little things that...
And it's funny how they stick with you. Right?
Absolutely. Even if you don't consciously believe them anymore, they can still be in there.
Totally.
Then there's modeling. So we unconsciously pick up habits, financial habits, from the people around us,
Right.
especially our parents. He tells this story about this woman who always cuts the ends off her ham before cooking it.
Okay.
And it turns out she learned it from her mom, who learned it from her mom, and so on. And the original reason was the pan was too small.
That's so funny. It's like we inherit these.
I know, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
These weird little financial quirks without even realizing it.
Totally.
And then the third one is what?
Specific incidents. These are like emotionally charged experiences that shape our relationship with money.
Okay.
So think back to your childhood. What are some of your earliest memories around money?
Oh, that's interesting.
Were they positive or negative?
Right.
Did your family struggle financially? Were there arguments about money?
Yeah, my dad, he was an entrepreneur. And so his mood would totally shift.
Oh, wow.
Depending on how the business was doing.
Yeah.
So things were tight. You could feel it in the house.
Right.
Everyone was kind of on edge. But then as soon as a big project finished and the money came in, he was so happy and generous.
Yeah.
And so for me, I think money became associated with this kind of emotional roller coaster.
I can see that. He also talks about this woman who, as a child, she would ask her mother for money for ice cream. And her mom would always say, go ask your dad. He's the one with all the money.
Wow. That seems like a pretty harmless thing to say on the surface.
Right.
But you can see how it could reinforce this idea that money is a man's domain.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how these seemingly small things can have such a big impact on our beliefs.
Right, right.
That's why it's so important to understand how these blueprints are formed.
Right, because then you can start to unpack them and say, okay, well, maybe this isn't actually true, or this isn't serving me anymore.
It empowers you to start making changes.
Right.
So once we understand those blueprints, the question is, how do we start shifting to a wealth mindset?
Right. How do we create a blueprint that actually supports us?
And that's where Eker introduces his 17 wealth files.
Okay.
And these are basically alternative ways of thinking and acting that align with wealth creation.
Got it. Before we dive into those, I'm curious about this idea of the 4 quadrants of existence that he mentions.
Oh, yeah.
It comes up, but it's not fully explained in the book. Can you unpack that a little bit?
Sure. So he's saying that our reality is made up of 4 interconnected areas: the mental, the emotional, the spiritual, and the physical. And the physical realm, which includes our finances, is actually a reflection of what's happening in the other 3.
So if you're experiencing financial lack, it's often a symptom of something deeper.
Exactly.
Lacking on in your thoughts, your emotions,
your
or
beliefs.
Yeah, or your spiritual life.
Exactly. So much of what we experience externally is a printout of our internal world.
Wow, that's powerful.
So focusing on changing that inner world is key.
It's not just about the practical money strategies.
No, it's about aligning your entire being with wealth.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's unpack some of these wealth files. Where should we start?
Let's jump right into wealth file, #3. Rich people are committed to being rich. Poor people want to be rich.
I feel like I can already sense the nuance in that statement.
Right.
So he's not just talking about like the level of wanting here.
Exactly. You're right. Most people say they want to be rich, but there's a lot of resistance, limiting beliefs, and fear holding them back.
Right.
Rich people, they're fully committed.
Right.
It's not a wishy-washy hope.
Like, oh, it'd be nice to be rich.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll buy a lottery ticket.
Exactly. But rich people, it's a burning desire. It drives their actions.
Yeah. He talks about how poor people play the lottery.
Yes.
Hoping to get rich quick. But rich people understand
they're creating their own wealth.
Right. They're not relying on luck.
Exactly.
Right. So it's about taking control.
Yeah, ownership.
Ownership of your financial destiny.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's wealth file #3. What's next?
All right, let's move on to wealth file #4. Rich people think big. Poor people think small.
I like that.
And this one really emphasizes the connection between value and wealth. Eker believes our income is directly proportional to the value we deliver.
So if we want to increase our income, we need to figure out how to create more value.
Exactly. He challenges us to think bigger, to think about how we can impact more people.
That's a good one.
10 times, 100 times the number of people we're currently reaching.
It forces you to think outside the box.
Yeah, get out of your comfort zone.
And it's interesting because he talks about how rich people are always looking for opportunities.
Yes.
Right.
It's opportunity-minded.
Yeah, and that kind of ties into wealth file #5, right?
Yeah.
Rich people focus on opportunities. Poor people focus on obstacles.
Absolutely. Rich people see potential where others see problems.
He told that story, I think it's in this book, about the guy who buys a piece of land, like in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
And then years later, some developer comes along and wants to build a shopping center.
A gold mine.
And the guy's a millionaire, right? Just because he was willing to
seize the opportunity.
take a chance on this thing that other people probably dismissed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think what's interesting is he even admits that he used to believe you have to have all the information before making a move. But now he's all about ready, fire, aim.
But isn't there a danger in acting too quickly without gathering all the information?
That's a great question. It's not about being reckless. It's more about understanding that there's never going to be a perfect time to start.
Yeah.
You can always gather more information.
So it's about finding that balance between doing your due diligence but not getting stuck in analysis paralysis.
Exactly. Be willing to take calculated risks and adjust as you go.
That's a more dynamic approach for sure.
Yeah. And it requires you to be comfortable with discomfort.
Okay, that brings us to wealth file. #6. Rich people admire other rich and successful people. Poor people resent rich and successful people.
And this one is all about energy. Rich people, they're inspired by the success of others.
Okay.
They see it as proof that it's possible. They want to learn from those who have already achieved what they want to achieve.
Right.
Whereas poor people, they often resent the wealthy.
Right.
Which can actually block them from attracting abundance.
Yeah, it's like that negativity just kind of...
It creates a wall.
A wall, yeah.
A wall between you and what you want.
Yeah. He talks about how when he moved into a wealthy neighborhood...
Oh, yeah.
He was surprised by how kind and generous his neighbors were.
Yeah, it challenges that stereotype, right?
Yeah, of rich people being greedy and selfish.
Exactly.
But he found that they were really passionate about giving back.
And making a difference.
Yeah. So it sounds like instead of resenting those who are already wealthy, we should be...
Learn from them.
learning from them, and seeing them as role models. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wow, I'm seeing how all these pieces fit together. It's not just about the money. It's really about...
It's a whole way of being. Yeah. And that leads us to Wealth File #10, which I love. Rich people are bigger than their problems. Poor people are smaller than their problems.
He has that great line, doesn't he, where he says, if you have a big problem in your life, all that means is you're being a small person.
Yes, that's the one.
So good.
It highlights the importance of personal growth.
So to attract more wealth, we need to expand our capacity to handle challenges.
Exactly.
It makes me think of those those really intense personal development seminars where they have people breaking boards and doing all these crazy things to kind of prove to themselves that they can...
He does the arrow break, right.
Yeah, break arrows with their throat or something.
It's pretty intense.
But how do you start building those mental muscles in everyday life?
Well, it's all about acting in spite of fear. Even when you don't feel like it.
So it's about building that action muscle.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's Wealth File #10.
All right. Let's move on to #11. Rich people are excellent receivers. Poor people are poor receivers.
That one sounds a little counterintuitive.
Yeah. How is being a good receiver related to financial abundance, right?
Right.
Well, Eker's point is that many people have blocks around receiving. They feel unworthy, or maybe they're afraid of being judged.
Right.
But he reminds us that we live in a world of duality, right? Giving and receiving, two sides of the same coin. If we're not open to receiving, we disrupt the flow.
It's like blocking the abundance, right?
Exactly. He encourages us to celebrate our wins, to receive compliments and gifts graciously.
Right.
Really nurture ourselves.
Yeah. I love that he even recommends setting up a play account.
Yes.
Where you dedicate a portion of your income to just spend on things that bring you joy.
It's about proving to your subconscious that there's enough, that you can enjoy life and build wealth.
Okay, I love that idea. It's a really good one.
Right.
Yeah, because I think so many people struggle with feeling worthy of receiving.
Absolutely. It's definitely an area where a lot of us have some inner work to do.
Totally. All right, what's next?
Okay, let's talk about Wealth File, #12. Rich people choose to get paid based on results. Poor people choose to get paid based on time.
I feel like this is such a key distinction, especially in today's economy.
It is.
Right.
It challenges that whole traditional notion of trading time for money.
Right.
Which Eker believes is a major roadblock to wealth.
He's a big advocate for finding ways to leverage your efforts.
Right.
Yes.
Get paid based on your performance. Yeah. Things like commissions, starting a business, working on projects that offer bonuses.
So even if you are in a salary job, he recommends maybe having a conversation with your employer.
Yeah.
To see if you can create some sort of performance-based incentive plan.
Absolutely. It's about taking control of your earning potential.
All right, so that's Wealth File #12. What else?
Let's move on to Wealth File #14. Rich people manage their money well. Poor people mismanage their money well.
This seems pretty straightforward, but I'm guessing there's more to it than meets the eye.
You're right. It's not just about knowing how to budget or track your expenses. It's about developing a healthy relationship with money at every income level.
He uses that great analogy of the ice cream cone.
Right. The triple scoop.
Where if a kid can't handle one scoop without making a mess, why would you give them 3?
Yeah, exactly. It's like we need to demonstrate our ability to manage smaller amounts before we can expect to attract and manage larger sums.
It's about proving to yourself and maybe to the universe that you're responsible.
Yeah.
So how do we move from mismanaging to managing well? Like, what are some concrete steps?
That's where Eker introduces his 6-account system for managing money.
Okay, I definitely want to hear more about that.
We'll dive into that in part 2 of this deep dive.
Okay, sounds good.
Along with some of the other wealth files.
This is great. I'm already starting to think about my own beliefs about money. Like, where do they come from and how are they showing up in my life today?
It's powerful to start to become aware of those patterns.
Yeah.
Because once you're aware of them, then you can start to choose something different.
Totally. Well, I think we're going to have to leave it there for today, but this is such a great start, and I'm really looking forward to continuing this conversation in part 2.
Me too.
Welcome back. Last time we were really digging into those money blueprints and how they might be holding us back. So I'm really curious to hear more about that money management system that you mentioned at the end of the last part.
Yeah, absolutely. Eker's system is really all about being intentional with your money.
Okay.
And he recommends dividing your income into 6 separate accounts.
6. Okay, tell me more about this.
All right. So the first one is the financial freedom account.
Yep.
You're supposed to put 10% of your income into this account. And this is strictly for investments that are going to generate passive income down the road.
So this is the long game, right? Like thinking about financial independence eventually.
Yes, exactly. Building wealth.
Okay, I like it.
Right.
What's number 2?
All right, this is where it gets fun.
Okay.
The play account.
A play account.
Yes. You put another 10% of your income into this account.
Okay.
And the rule is you have to spend it all every month.
Wait, you have to spend it?
Yes. It's for pure enjoyment. Guilt-free spending on things that bring you joy.
Wow, I love that. Because so often with money management, it's all about like saving.
Right.
You forget to enjoy life now.
Exactly. But Eker believes that depriving yourself only strengthens that scarcity mindset.
That makes sense.
So this play account is about showing your subconscious that there's plenty to go around.
Okay, I'm on board with the play account. What are the other 4?
Okay, so next we have the necessities account. This one's pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It covers all your basic needs.
Yeah.
Housing, food, bills, all that.
Makes sense.
Then there's the long-term savings for spending account.
Okay.
So this is for those bigger purchases that aren't immediate needs, but things you're saving up for. Like, let's say, a vacation or a down payment on a house.
So it's separate from your financial freedom account?
Yes, because this money is meant to be spent eventually.
Got it.
Okay, then we have the education account. And this is dedicated to personal and professional growth.
Okay, like books?
Yeah, books, courses, seminars.
Coaching, yeah.
Anything that helps you expand your knowledge and skills.
Love that.
And finally, the giving account.
I had a feeling that would be on the list.
It had to be there. This is for supporting causes that you care about.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Eker believes that giving back is an essential part of true wealth. You know, it's about recognizing that we're all interconnected.
Yeah. It shifts the focus from just accumulation to like making a difference.
Exactly. Using your wealth as a force for good.
Okay, so that's the whole 6 account system.
Yeah.
It's interesting because it goes beyond just budgeting. It feels more holistic.
I agree. It's about aligning your money with your values.
Yeah.
And making conscious choices that support your goals.
Before we move on to the rest of the wealth files, there are a couple more things from the book that I wanted to touch on.
Okay.
One is this idea of declarations.
Yes.
He talks about how they're different from affirmations. Can you explain that?
Sure. So Eker sees affirmations as statements about something that's already true.
Okay.
Which can sometimes create resistance because your mind might be like, wait a minute, that's not true.
Right.
Declarations, on the other hand, are statements of intention.
Okay.
It's about saying, this is what I'm committed to creating.
So it's less about pretending something is true and more about like setting an intention.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense. He also talks about physical anchors. What are those?
Yeah, these are about using physical movements or gestures to reinforce your declarations.
Okay.
It's like you're anchoring the intention in your body.
Can you give me an example?
Sure. Let's say your declaration is, I am a confident and successful entrepreneur. You could create a physical anchor by standing tall, taking a deep breath, and raising your arms in a victory pose every time you say that declaration.
Interesting. It's like creating a physical ritual to really embody the intention.
Exactly.
Okay. There's one more thing I wanted to ask about. These different money blueprints that he mentions.
Yeah.
Like that people are kind of programmed to earn within a certain range.
Like an invisible ceiling.
Yeah, he tells that story about the client who's making like $500,000 a year.
Yeah.
But still felt financially insecure.
Mm-hmm.
And it turned out that his internal blueprint was actually set for like a much higher level of wealth.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
So it's not just about how much you're actually making.
It's about how you feel about it.
Yeah.
Relative to your internal programming.
You could be earning a lot, but if your blueprint is set for something different,
you're not going to feel abundant.
Right. You're still going to feel that scarcity.
Exactly.
Okay. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we've got a lot more wealth files to cover. Should we jump back into those?
Yeah, let's dive back in.
Okay.
So we left off with wealth file, #15. Rich people have their money work hard for them. Poor people work hard for their money.
I feel like this is the one that everyone wants to crack.
It is.
The code to passive income.
Exactly. Creating a system where your money generates more money.
Without you having to trade your time for it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a key principle of building wealth.
Okay.
Eker talks about the difference between working income, which is what you earn from your job,
Okay.
and passive income, which comes from investments or businesses that run without you.
So things like rental properties.
Yes.
Or royalties from books.
Royalties, dividends, yeah.
Even something like owning a vending machine.
Exactly.
Okay, it sounds great in theory, but I think a lot of people get intimidated by the idea of passive income.
I think you're right.
It feels complicated.
It can feel out of reach.
Yeah, especially if you've always been in that 9-to-5 mentality.
Eker says poor people often have a mental block around passive income because they've been conditioned to believe that you have to work hard for money.
Right, like hard work equals trading time for money.
Exactly. But rich people see it differently.
They understand that wealth can come from different avenues.
From building assets, having their money work for them.
Okay, so it's about shifting that mindset again.
Yeah.
From scarcity to abundance.
And it doesn't have to be overwhelming.
Yeah.
Eker encourages people to start small.
Right.
Explore different options.
Okay.
Find what works for them.
I like that. Start small.
Yeah.
And it's not about being perfect.
No, it's about taking action and learning as you go.
He also recommends thinking about career paths that have the potential to generate passive income down the road. So like entrepreneurship or something that you can systematize so it doesn't require your constant attention.
Right. Create a business that can run without you.
Okay, that's WealthFile, #15. What's next?
All right, let's talk about WealthFile, #16. Rich people act in spite of fear. Poor people let fear stop them.
This one feels very relevant for our times.
It does. I mean, fear is natural.
Right.
But it shouldn't hold us back from achieving our goals.
He talks about how poor people often get stuck in analysis paralysis.
Yeah, overthinking and worrying.
Waiting for the perfect moment.
Which never comes.
Right. He's all about ready, fire, aim.
Take action. Adjust as you go.
Yeah, I love that. It's about being willing to make mistakes.
And learn from them.
Yeah. It's so easy to get caught up in wanting to have everything perfect.
Right. But perfectionism can be a form of procrastination.
It can, totally.
It's about getting out of your head and into action.
Okay, so embrace imperfection. What's the last WealthFile?
All right, this one is #17. Rich people constantly learn and grow. Poor people think they already know.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's about having a growth mindset. Always being open to new information and ideas.
Right. He talks about how dangerous it can be to think we already know something.
Yeah.
Because it closes us off to learning.
Yeah. True knowledge comes from experience.
He also stresses the importance of surrounding yourself with successful people.
Yes. Your network is your net worth.
Right. Because you become who you spend time with.
Exactly. Learn from those who are already where you want to be.
So it's not enough to just work hard. It's about working smart.
And constantly improving.
Yeah. This has been such a powerful deep dive. It really highlights how much our beliefs shape our reality.
They do. And I think it's important to remember that we have the power to change those beliefs.
Yeah. It's not always easy, but it's definitely possible.
Eker actually shares a story in the book about one of his students.
Okay.
Her name was Emma, and she was on the verge of bankruptcy.
Oh, wow.
She was deeply in debt, feeling completely overwhelmed.
So she comes to his seminar and decides to implement his system, right?
Yes, but here's the thing. She only had $1 a month to divide between those 6 accounts.
Wait, $1 a month?
Yes, I know, it's incredible.
I mean, most people would have given up, right? Like, what's the point?
Right, it seems so insignificant, but Emma was determined. She committed to allocating that $1 every month.
Wow.
Following the principles of the system, even with those limited resources.
And what happened?
Well, through that consistent action and a shift in her mindset, she eventually climbed out of debt.
Wow.
And she's now well on her way to building wealth.
It just shows that it's not about the amount.
No.
It's about the commitment.
It's about those small, consistent actions driven by a clear intention.
I love that story. It's really inspiring.
It is. It shows that anyone can turn their financial situation around.
Regardless of where they're starting from.
Absolutely.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive into Secrets of the Millionaire Mind,
Yeah.
what are some key takeaways that you hope our listeners will walk away with?
I think the most important one is that wealth creation is an inside-out process. It starts with examining your beliefs about money and identifying those subconscious patterns that might be holding you back.
And then taking action to align your actions with your desired outcome, even if it's just baby steps.
Yeah. Start implementing those wealth files. Experiment with the 6-account system.
Right.
See what shifts you notice in your life.
It's about consistent effort over time.
And remember, success leaves clues. Surround yourself with people who are already living the kind of financial life you want.
Right. And don't be afraid to invest in your financial education.
Exactly. Knowledge is power.
And don't forget, ready, fire, aim.
Take action.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get so caught up in trying to figure everything out.
Right, wanting to have all the answers.
But the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step.
So true. Well, this has been such a fascinating deep dive.
It has.
And if you're listening and you're feeling inspired to learn more, I highly recommend checking out Eker's book, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. It's packed with even more insights and strategies.
Yeah, definitely check it out.
So, as we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Okay.
If you could design your own wealth file, what would it be?
That's a good question.
What principle or belief do you think is essential for creating lasting wealth and abundance? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep creating the life of your dreams. Man, we've covered so much ground in this deep dive. From those subconscious money blueprints to the 6-account system and those eye-opening wealth files, my brain's like, whoa.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack, isn't there? But it all comes back to that idea that our mindset shapes our reality, especially when it comes to finances.
It's not just about knowing what to do, it's about believing you can do it, right? Like really aligning those beliefs with the abundance you want to create.
Absolutely. You have to become a vibrational match for the wealth you desire.
I love that, a vibrational match. Okay, so as we wrap up this deep dive into Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, what are some key takeaways you hope our listeners will really hold on to?
I think the biggest one is that wealth creation is an inside-out process. You have to start by examining your beliefs about money. Like, where did those beliefs come from? What are those hidden patterns that might be holding you back?
Right, and once you identify those blueprints, then it's about taking action.
Right, exactly. Start putting those wealth files into practice. Maybe try out Eker's 6-account system and just see how things shift for you.
It's not about overnight success. It's about showing up consistently and being willing to grow and learn along the way.
You got it. And remember, surround yourself with people who are already living the kind of financial life you want. Learn from their experience.
Don't be afraid to ask for guidance. Invest in your financial education.
Knowledge is definitely power, especially with money.
And of course, we can't forget Eker's motto, ready, fire, aim.
Sometimes it's better to take action and adjust as you go than to wait for everything to be perfect. Because perfect doesn't exist.
I needed to hear that today. So true. Well, I think this has been such an incredible exploration of Eker's work. For everyone listening, if you're feeling inspired and want to dive even deeper, I definitely recommend grabbing his book. There's so much more to uncover in Secrets of the Millionaire Mind.
It's a classic for a reason.
Okay, so before we sign off, I want to leave everyone with a little something to ponder. If you could design your own wealth file, what would it be? What principle or belief do you think is absolutely essential for creating that lasting wealth and abundance?
Share your thoughts with us in the comments. We always love hearing from you.
And until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep creating the life of your dreams.
恭喜你又听完了一本书，订阅以便不错过更多精彩节目，也别忘了分享给你的朋友，一起快乐听书学英语。